If I just told you I lost an 8-teamer to win 20 grand and I got backdoored on the last leg by a hook, and the last leg was a huge favorite and I should have bought the hook, do you know what that means? Welcome back to the next installment of the series. Again, thinking about that saying, right? I had an 8-teamer to win $20,000. I lost by the hook on the last leg, and it was a heavy favorite, and I got backdoored. I should have bought the hook. If you don't know what that means, that's totally fine. But if you're a gambler, I know you know what it means. I said that very same phrase to my mom, and her reaction was, Jesus Christ. Because to her, the sentence made zero sense at all. And again, if you're a gambler, you know exactly what it means. But the language of gambling is a thing in and of itself. And once you understand it, you start to see how deep it really goes. Like, did you know gambling psychology goes back to the 1940s? There's this experiment called the Skinner box, and it wasn't an experiment designed to talk about gambling psychology. It was for something totally different, but casinos and sportsbooks have been using it ever since. So I'll break that down for you too. So today we're going to dive into the specific language that gamblers use and how it helps hide and feed their addiction. Gambling today has its own language, and understanding that language, especially for somebody who's trying to help or trying to stop a loved one from gambling, for example, is going to have to know what this stuff means. It's not just about what a gambler says, it's about the hidden meaning behind those words. Gamblers have a language all of their own, and it can often be a sign of how entrenched they are into gambling. So if you think about words like tilts and boosts and parlays and cash outs, that's not just casual lingo, it actually reflects the mindset and coping mechanisms of the gambler. So, for instance, if you hear a gambler say, I'm going full tilt, in other words, rage betting, that's the term I like to use for it, it just means that they've let their emotions completely taken over and their logical brain is out the window and they are going to be in full on chase mode. And it probably means they lost a bet on a buzzer beater or a Hail Mary, or they just can't win a bet to save their lives, so they need to try and win that money back. You'll probably hear people talk about betting in units, and again, most gamblers know what that means on the surface level, but if you don't, it's just a way to track wins and losses. But what people don't think about is how using the term units actually desensitizes you or removes the emotion from gambling. I've talked about this a bunch of times, but again, if a unit to you is $100, what sounds worse? If you take a 5 unit bet, oh, I just lost 5 units on this game, or oh, I just lost $500. It's the same reason why casinos use poker chips. In a problem gambler's mind, if it's poker chips or units, it doesn't feel real if you're actually losing it. And then there's usual terms like parlays and boosts and cash outs. Like, most people know what they mean, but if you don't, parlay is just stringing bets together where the odds are much riskier, but the payouts are much higher, and you have to win every single bet to hit it. Boosts are little marketing gimmicks by the sports books where they're going to give you boosted odds on something to entice you to gamble on it, where the payout will be a little bit higher. And then cash outs are like a gambler's devil's dilemma. Whenever you cash out, it feels like the bet ends up winning, and when you don't cash out, it feels like it's losing. And again, the sports books give you those options because they know if you cash out, you're probably just going to bet again and you'll lose it anyways. The most important word when it comes to gambling terminology, in my opinion at least, is the word retirement. I can't tell you how many times I told a buddy, oh, I'm retired. And he knew exactly what it meant. It meant that I'm taking some time off, I've been getting killed. And to me, as a problem gambler, what it really just meant is I'm broke. I don't have any money. I can't gamble right now. And I need to figure out a way to do it. It is just a euphemism for somebody to say that they lost control. And it's interesting to think about too, because like I went into retirement a million different times. Always. Anytime I wasn't betting, it wasn't because I was really trying to stop. It was that I had told myself I'm retiring so that nobody asked me any questions. And it was kind of this unwritten, unspoken thing that we just knew, hey, Joe's off the game for a hot second, but he'll be back. And sure enough, I always came back. And it never really hit me until I stopped gambling, where I think about kind of in a way judging people in some weird sense, but in Illinois we have slot machines in like every gas station, and it's actually kind of annoying and sad. But I went to fill up gas at like 6:30 in the morning, and sure enough, there's people in there just pushing buttons away for hours, probably. Who knows? I mean, you don't have to go to the casino to play slot machines anymore. You can go to most bars and restaurants, and just about every casino has them. And it's weird because, again, here I am, somebody who's basically ruined his life from gambling, looking at somebody else like, geez, was I that bad? And the answer is yes. Another thing that I've talked a lot about is the social aspect of gambling and just gambling culture as a whole. And those phrases I know are meant to be ultimately funny and kind of endearing and all of that, but also it's hidden words that just kind of remove the emotion and desensitizing and gets you excited to gamble. So a lot of the things that you hear are like life's too short to bet the under. Yeah. I mean, everybody hates betting unders. It's not a fun bet. But if you peel that back, unders hit often. And if you're trying to convince yourself like of this idea of FOMO that, hey, I want to take the over just because I don't bet unders, that means you're not thinking logically about it. I'm not saying that you have a problem just because you decided to bet an under or an over because of that saying. And the problem isn't the saying in itself. It's just ultimately that you have this terminology that the only people who understand it are gamblers. Hungry dogs run faster, right? You take an underdog because they seem motivated. And the other problem with these phrases is you are using that as logic to place a bet. You're not using it mathematically because, hey, the X's and O's and the matchup and the value and perceived value and expected value of this bet, it has a good chance of winning and the sports books mispriced it. That's just saying, I need a reason to gamble on something, and I'm going to take a dog because hungry dogs run faster. There's another big one you'll hear a lot, fade the public, right? Fade public Joe, Joe's versus the pros. And again, like in theory, yeah, does that sound like an okay strategy? Probably. But do you think the sports books are really going to give you the real information? I know you can look up that information and see where the public is betting, but do you really, really think that that's accurate? No, there's no shot. And again, ultimately, these things and these sayings are just showing the culture and bravado of gambling. And I know better than you because, again, hungry dogs run faster, right? Now, to break down that I had an 8-teamer sequence, that just means I had an 8-team parlay and it lost on the last leg, meaning 7 out of the 8 bets were correct. And if you're not familiar with parlays, it means that you have to hit all 8 bets for it to win. And it lost on the last leg. So I lost on the 8th and final bet, and I got backdoored on it, which meant a Hail Mary or a buzzer beater. It lost at the very end by the hook, meaning the spread. So sometimes you'll see a spread as -7.5. So a team needs to win by 8 for it to cover. If you lost by the hook, it means it means that the bet won by 7 instead of 8. So you lost. Now, on most betting apps, you can buy points, meaning you can pay some additional juice or have lower odds on the payout to get the bet or spread down to 7. That's where I should have bought the hook came in. Now, explaining that gambling psychology, again, this goes back to the 1940s. There's a psychologist named B.F. Skinner, and he ran an experiment that changed how we understand, frankly, addiction and psychology just in general. So the setup was really simple, and I'm going to read this so I don't mess it up. Every time a pigeon pecked on a lever, sometimes it got a food pellet and sometimes it didn't. The key word here is sometimes. Skinner discovered that when rewards came at random intervals, the pigeons pecked far more often and for far longer, even after food stopped coming. So there's this unpredictability aspect of it, and it's known as a variable ratio schedule. So that's what creates the strongest, most persistent behavior known in psychology. And it's the same principle used by casinos and slot machines. You keep pulling that lever, you don't know when it's going to happen, but the key thing here is that it's easily repeatable. You just sit there and hit the lever 100 times in a night and do nothing. You just watch wheels spin and lights go off. But you know that the reward might come, and that's what keeps you sitting there. And sports betting apps are doing the same thing now. I mean, you can bet on whether the next pitch is a ball or a strike, or if historically, like, you could only bet on NFL or NBA or the big games, well, now in between those games that you don't like, you have your 11 o'clock, or I guess Central Time, 11 o'clock games, and then the next slate doesn't really start until like 2 or 2:30, and then you have the nighttime games. Well, if you don't like anything in that early afternoon slot, you can go find anything to bet on in between. And that's where the trap lies. That's what modern gambling is today. It is a modern version or a digital version of the Skinner box. Every bet, every boost, every cash out, that is the lever to get you to keep going. You don't know when that next win is coming, but you know it might be coming, and that maybe is ultimately what hooks you. And sportsbooks, frankly, have engineered this perfectly. They've completely gamified the sports betting app. You have the next pitch bets, you have the in-game props, you have first quarter over under, second quarter over under, first half over under. There's thousands of bets you can make on a single game. It is absolutely insane. And then they throw this little cash out at you, which gives you kind of this illusion of control, right? And ultimately, if you have this illusion of control, you're going to think you're in control, but you're really not. It's like a total psyop. Ultimately, the cash out feature is to keep you pressing that lever and hitting place bet so that you don't leave. So taking the Skinner box and putting it in human form, you have a cue, an action, a reward, and a craving. So what happens is you get a notification that the game's about to start or a score update, and your brain response has this anticipation surge. And the action is you place the bet, and chemically you have a dopamine release with that. And you have your rewards, right? The what happens aspect to this is you win, you're close to winning, you can cash out, or you lose. Either way, those spikes reinforce the cycle. And then you start having the cravings. Let's run it back. Let's keep it going. And now you're just restarting that loop over and over. And that's how gamblers are able to make hundreds of bets a day. They just get stuck in this loop and they can't do it. And it's not strategy, it's conditioning, frankly. And next thing you know, you are betting, like me, sun up to sundown. And even when you're asleep, you have live action going. And here's the thing when it comes to that loop, it doesn't end when the money runs out. It ends when the variable reward system finally stops getting triggered, frankly. It's why withdrawal isn't just psychological, it's actually neurological. So when we talk about terms like next pitch bets or cash outs or cashing out early, we're not just describing features of a sports book, we're actually describing Skinner boxes in motion. These quick and unpredictable results, again, they mimic slot machines. Think about a baseball game. There's 300 pitches, and you can bet on the outcome of every single one of them. That's no different than a slot machine. Every couple of seconds, you have a bet going. And that's kind of what I'll talk about next, is some of those behavioral traps within all of that. Again, the way gamblers talk, it is really just a disguise. I mean, we convince ourselves we're being logical, but we're really just trying to make chaos sound like strategy. It's a justification in our minds at best. And when I used to say things like, I just need to get back to even, what I really meant was, I can't live with this loss right now, and I can't sit in this pain and anger. I need to keep betting, because if I have live action, I'm going to feel better. Which ironically, I just felt more stressed. And that's kind of the gambler's fallacy in a nutshell, like this belief that the next bet is somehow connected to the last one. And I know inherently, like, I'm a smart guy as an economics major. I kind of understand math, right? And I understand probabilities and statistics to a certain degree. And I realize that the fact that I bet on the Packers versus Bears and lost has no bearing on the outcome of the Lions and Vikings game. But in the emotional side of it, I don't care because the Packers-Bears game, I lost on a Hail Mary, or the Packers were favored by 10.5 points and they got blown out. Like, that's BS, right? So the next bet has to somehow be connected to that, and I'm going to place that bet because I need to win the money back. It's sort of like the universe owes you a win. And all that really does is just start the loop again. You lose, you double down, you lose bigger, you spiral. And then at that point, you're not even really chasing money, you're chasing relief because, again, if you have action, at least it calms you down in a way. And I've talked about this earlier, but like the idea of using units, it sounds harmless, right? But, I used to use that phrase like it made me a disciplined better. Like I sounded like an expert as, running a hedge fund because I was using units, but really it's just hiding my addiction more, especially among my friends. It was detaching because calling it a unit made it feel like it was numbers on a spreadsheet, not my rent money. And the worst bet of all is the safe bet. What even is that? And I'm trying not to use American odds on here because I know some of you are used to different odds, but it's the type of bet where you risk $400 to win 100. And the idea is that it's a sure thing. I can't tell you how many times I told myself that, I can't, like, I am ice cold. I can't win a bet if it hit me in the face. If I had the answers to the test, I couldn't hit a bet. And so I'd randomly take Steph Curry to hit a three-pointer. And this one is a true story, by the way. To make one three-pointer, Steph Curry. The guy hit a three in like 350 consecutive games. So the odds on it were super high. The one time I took it, didn't make a three-pointer that game. And it wasn't like, oh, he got hurt in the first quarter and didn't finish the game. Nope, the dude went like 0 for 12. Of course, that was the one bet I took on it. And it's kind of funny when you think about those bets too, because when it wins, it doesn't feel like a win because it's supposed to be a freebie. And when it loses, it's absolutely devastating because you're like, what the hell am I doing risking all of that? I mean, this came into play when, I used to gamble with the bookies too, where if I was supposed to get paid on Monday, I knew that on the rare occasion where I was up, I knew that he had to collect his money and then he would pay me at the end of the day. So if I could take my winnings and take a safe bet and start the week in the positive, great. And I took a soccer game where I did not know in soccer at that time that there's 3 outcomes. You can bet on the win, lose, or draw. And I took like France money line versus whoever it was in the Euros. And France is up 2-0. And it's the 80th minute, I want to say. And then it's 2-1. And then it's the 88th minute and it's 2-2. And the game ends in a draw. So I'm like, all right, whatever, no sweat. I'm refreshing the website and it's showing as a loss. And I texted the bookie like, yo, what's going on? This got graded incorrectly. And he's like, no, man, like win, lose, or draw. If it's a draw, you lose. And that's a problem because 1, I couldn't wait until the bookie paid me that day before I started betting outside my means. But 2, there are no safe bets. They're probabilities. And the issue with probabilities is for the gambler, we treat it like a personality test. It's not about logic, it's about emotion. And every safe bet is just this like desperate attempt to feel in control of something that's completely random. Because again, every person knows that these situations are independent of each other, but we treat it like they are dependent on each other. And again, like gamblers are masters of the self-talk. We build these little sentences that protect us from the truth. I'm just taking a break. I only bet big when I'm winning because I'm on a hot streak. If I had bought the hook, I would have won. Well, maybe, maybe not. You don't know that. And these aren't excuses. They're frankly just armor to protect us from facing the reality of this is a problem. Again, I reference this a lot. It's the illusion of control, thinking, I'm the exception and I can outsmart randomness. When I say things like, I should have bought the hook, it's really just me saying that I need to believe and lie to myself and believe that lie that I could influence the outcome. Because admitting that you couldn't influence the outcome means admitting you probably have a problem. Then there's one of my favorite lines, like, the gambling gods will reward me. And I used to say that all the time. Like, I remember, buying a sandwich at Potbelly and, they're 10%, 20%, 25% tip. I'd tip 25% because you know what? Number one, I'm going to win my bets today and fine, let me spread it around. And number two, that's good karma. I didn't even tip because I wanted to tip and it's a hard job. I tipped because I thought I'd benefit from it. Like there's, some balance sheet of cosmic karma that is going to reward me with my gambling. Like that's how delusional I was. Every one of those little sayings of I'm due for a win or this time's going to be different. It's just bad luck. It's just self-hypnosis in a nutshell. And the thing about gamblers is we believe our own lies. So if you tell yourself that story enough times, you will start to believe it, not because it's true, but because it's safer than admitting that you lost and that you're not in control of your gambling. And then you start to look at the financial side, and that is where the lies really start to multiply, not just to other people, but ultimately to yourself. And I used to think about this idea of the dream world of gambling where I'd be the guy that would buy dinner for my buddies or pay for a trip, and I couldn't afford any of that. Like, I just wanted to do it because I wanted to be the guy that took care of his friends. And it wasn't even ego. I just wanted to be that guy. And then when I was down, it was more of like, all right, I have an issue and I'm just going to quit once I win it all back. And I climbed out of losses like multiple times. So again, then you start to believe, all right, well, I did this once. I know I can probably do it again. Thinking that, again, I'm the exception. It's sort of like this sunk cost trap that, you've lost so much that quitting would actually feel worse than losing more. And you don't even want to win for profit. You just want to win for redemption. And that's how you start justifying everything. That's how you justify the payday loans at 1,200% interest rate, the cash advances on the credit card, sneaking money from one account to another. And you start saying things like, once I hit that big one, I'll fix everything. And that's the fantasy of escape. It's, gambling as your financial advisor. And I tell people this all the time now. Like the amount of messages I get of, I'll quit once I get back to even. Buddy, I know this road that you're going down. And once you get back to even, you know what's going to happen. You're going to look at your betting app and you'll probably quit for like a few days. You're going to look at your betting app and your bank account and see that you're back to even. And you're going to have this epiphany that says, oh, wait, I got all the way back to even. I have it all figured out now. I don't have to gamble 24/7. I climbed out of this hole. It's good. No, it's not, because getting out of financial trouble does not mean that your gambling problem is solved. What's going to happen if you get back to even is you're not going to stop and you're going to wind up in the exact same spot you were. And one of the worst parts about gambling and this terminology and the language of it is that it kind of changes your identity as a whole. Like, I was fortunate, I guess is the weird word to use there, but like I had some VIP hosts at a couple different sports books and they would offer me box seats to Cubs games or sweet tickets to a concert, and I always said no to them. And I did it for a couple of reasons. So not because I didn't want to go, like, sign me up for a box seats at a Cubs game. Like, that'd be awesome. Free booze, free food, free tickets. Yeah, I'm all in. But I didn't want to go because they always give you a +1. And I know that if I brought someone, there's probably going to be some DraftKings sponsored logos in the box and people are going to ask questions. Because I can't afford those tickets. And if they ask questions, they're going to get the answers that I don't want to share with anybody. And if I give those answers out, then people are going to know there's an issue. And then secondly, if I took those tickets, then they wouldn't give me bonus bets or DraftKings dollars or whatever they wanted to do. I wanted to gamble more than have the experience. And that's what living a double life does for you. It changes who you are. You feel like you're the high roller. Like the fact that I was offered these tickets made me feel like I was actually able to afford them. Like I was this kind of big shot that like can do whatever he wants and afford whatever he wants and go to these games and have these experiences, but I didn't have a pot to piss in. So you kind of start living in these two worlds, the fantasy world that you sell and pitch to everybody, like life is great, I'm chilling, I'm living it, and then the one that exists inside of you and the sports betting app. And that's what eventually breaks you. The lies pile up and it takes a toll on you. Not only does losing and not being good at controlling your gambling and the stress and all of that, it takes a toll on you mentally and physically, but so do the lies. Once you realize how far the lies have gone, you don't even know who you are at that point. You don't know what's up and down. I would lie about random things like people noticed I lost weight. They asked me what I had for lunch or if I ate lunch, and I said, oh, I had, a full meal of whatever, and I didn't eat that day because I was gambling. I didn't want to eat. I lost my appetite and I lost weight, and people noticed, and I just covered it up. So every phrase word and every slang word and every lie, like that's not random. It's part of that system that's designed to keep you hooked. It's, again, the Skinner's box, it's dopamine, it's denial, it's identity. Gambling doesn't just change how you spend or how you think about money, it changes how you speak. And when you finally stop gambling, that's one of the hardest parts, like learning a new language that doesn't revolve around odds and outcomes and checking the score app to see what the spread is and who's in the lineup and who's not, and knowing every single player on every random college basketball team and the KenPom odds for college basketball and what's the ranking and who's the hot Twitter tout to tail. And the group chat is only talking about gambling. Like that is all learned and has to change. And that is not easy. So the next time someone says, I lost an 8-teamer to win 20 grand on the last leg, buy the hook, I should have bought the hook, you're going to know what it means. And you're going to know that it's not just slang, it's possibly a cry for help. And that's not to say everyone who gambles is a problem gambler. But if that's someone's identity, they're probably a problem gambler. And if that's you, you can break from it. The first step is learning to translate the lies that you tell yourself. Because once you start speaking honestly, that's when recovery finally starts. See you next time.